Mufti MENK, Dr. Muhammad Salah and myself is oral sex. Is it halal? Is it flat out haram? Are there anything in particular permissible, not allowed? Bismillah. Take the lead.
Bismillah.
Basically, there are two opinions among the scholars. There is the opinion that says that nothing of that nature is permissible because of a person being a believer. You use the tongue and the mouth to say the shahada and so on, and the honorable things and so on. And the other opinion says, look, if someone wants to lick their nose or do something, it's considered perhaps not upon a level that would be encouraged or something, but to move to the level of prohibition would be beyond what is clearly stated as a prohibition. So the two opinions, one is that it should be avoided, and the other is there is a scope of permissibility. Perhaps Dr. Muhammad can elaborate on that a little bit further, because I'm sure he would have greater experience with Huda and with all the questions that he gets usually. You know, the difficulty is the new generation have stopped asking the question. They involve in it without asking, and they say, look, what is haram in this? If it is clean, and if it is if there is no dalil specifically prohibiting it, why are you prohibiting it for us? So they stopped asking. So we're basically talking to those who are really concerned, and maybe the older lot. I have had people, yesterday, someone sent me an email to say, look, as a female, I need oral sex. This is the question. And I recently got married. My husband is not going to do that. He said it's prohibited. What do I do? I'm not going to. It's early on in the marriage. And it's a tough one to navigate, because I can't convince you to follow an opinion. If the husband believes that it's not allowed, I mean, how do I convince him, look, there is another opinion? And if someone is following the other opinion, how do I convince them the other way? Dr. Muhammad, you have to really navigate through this one, because it is one of the crucial questions that needs to be hit head on. You have the, I don't want to call it the old school, but you have the...
You already did.
No, I don't want to call it the old school, but there needs to be a balance between.
But there are people out there are coming now saying what's halal, what's haram, without really being grounded.
Okay, to start with, can I say something really important, more important than the question of oral sex? That is, please ensure that your private parts are very, very clean at all times. That's something that you should never compromise. And this is why you and I know about halqul ana, that the removal of the hair of the entire private area is something from the fitrah. And we should be doing it on a regular basis. Some people have asked, are you allowed to laser? Are you allowed to wax? Are you allowed to remove this way? You remove it however you have to.
You just give him another question though.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
You added to the list, mashallah.
We added to the list.
This is something very important for people to know.
Yes, do you see how deep it goes? So this time I'm interrupting you, Habibi.
Allahu Akbar.
So nonetheless, the place needs to be clean. I mean, if someone wants to really, if they can really kiss someone on the nose and bite the nose and lick somebody's nose and lick somebody's ears. I mean, if the place is generally clean, it's very different from if, you have green snots coming out and you say, can I lick the nose? La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. May Allah forgive us. Sorry about that.
That's the third question. Licking the nose. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala nabiyhi Mustafa wa ba'd. Alhamdulillah, Islam and science go hand in hand. And they are in harmony in every aspect by the grace of Allah. So it is very important also to consider the pathological aspect of it. The private part and the genitals are a source of a lot of infections. Especially, there are a lot of people who may have STDs, like HP and human papilloma and so on, and they don't know, only when it breaks out. The transmission, not necessarily because of sexual contact. There are so many reasons, the clinics, the toilet seats, the public toilet seats, etc. So if it happens, and one of the partners, especially the female, happen to pick any of these STDs, and you can imagine a person is put in his mouth where there is STDs, sexual transmitted diseases. This is completely not advised, because it's not about the cleanness. You're talking about viral infection. So it's sitting there, even if you wash so many times. But even in this case, penetration would be also not advisable.
Well,
if they are having sexual contact, then one time is sufficient to fix.
That she needed it. She is inquiring it from her husband.
Well,
In those cases also, it's better not to...
you know, it is interesting because the spouse may detest it, may think it is disgusting. And of course, in small circles and in the counseling sessions, one of the partners say that it is disgusting. I feel like I want to throw up, and the other partner enjoys it. So not because you enjoy it, you make your partner throw up or vomit. They don't like it. Even if it is halal, don't push them to do it.
I actually came across a few years ago someone who said that one of the questions before marriage was, what's your opinion on oral sex? And they were embarrassed. They said, how could they have asked this question pre-marriage? And I said, you know what, maybe you just need to answer the question and say what you think.
They should.
Maybe
They should.
it's an important thing. You know?
It is, because if one of the partners, whether he or she, the future partner, dare to ask the question, that means it represents to them an ideology.
You see, there was a time when this was not even asked because it didn't exist. I mean, people might laugh at it, but there was a time, like if it did happen, it would have been mentioned somewhere in the kutub, in somewhere in the ahadith, somewhere in the what the yes, or in the Islamic history. But because there is no mention of it before a certain time, so it's become urf, or it's become from the urf of certain people, it's seeped into, you know, those who were more modest about this particular thing. And that's why today the debate is such that, like I said earlier, the young generation, they don't, to them, it's not even a question, and honestly so. Because there was a certain event I attended, and one of the things that I tried to ask a few of the youngsters is, you know what exactly are your views on this? And you know, they said, what do you mean? It's not, besides anal penetration. Besides anal penetration, there's nothing else that is haram. And
yeah, and because pornography became the main primary educator in this area, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, may Allah protect us. Now we receive a lot of emails from husbands and from wives that the actions, the disgusting action shows in these films also have entered Muslim homes as a result.
I remember in Medina, we asked one of the mashayikh there when we were students, just young, and he said it's not recommended, but you can't say it's prohibited. So they left it at that. And we were, that time I was too young and shy to even ask further. We just kept quiet, and you know.
One thing Brother Wael just brought up, talking about the porn industry, that we need to share with the viewers something really important. What is being presented in the porn movies and the porn industry does not represent the reality or the truth whatsoever. And most of the those who are involved in the actors or the actresses, they have to administer some sort of drugs in order to bear
the pain,
you know, the
medication,
pain, and the you know, the filth that they are involved in, which even animals do not degrade themselves to such level. How do we know that? We know that because of a lot of documentaries, whether in Discovery Channel
and
or
they
whatever.
have confessed after they've come out. There are a few who have actually come
some
open.
Who quit, and some who, after contracting some you know, serious STDs, and they are just waiting for their death. They warn the youngsters, especially a lot of college girls who want to pay for their education, and they find easy money there. You know, thousands of dollars on daily basis. So they destroy them, and they give them drugs in order to be capable to resume. So what you see in these movies do not represent the reality whatsoever, unless if you're gonna lose your life as well.
In fact, there is a professor in Australia by the name of Mary Crabb. She actually traveled to certain parts in the States, and she interviewed porn stars. And one of them mentioned that those who are trying to imitate us in the homes, they need to see psychologists. This is from the lips of the people in the industry. May Allah protect us all.